Turtle soup.
Yeah. It's so, Phil shows an answer, you know, look at people that sound.
Actually, turtle, I had turtle, I mean, it's pretty tasty.
I've never had turtle, but yeah,
It tastes just like chicken.
like chicken, so everything tastes like chicken, except chicken.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, it tastes like chicken.
The turtle soup.
Soup? Yeah, I can see you eating turtle soup.
A little turtle.
I was wondering why I like this. My daughter and her husband invited me to a Ducks Unlimited dinner.
I had one of the best ducks I ever had in my life, ducks on the middle of the ground. I don't know who that cooked it. That duck just, you didn't have to shoot it, put it in the oven. Oh, they had such a great, it was all nice.
There was some stuff that I didn't know what it would be.
Yeah.
How to cook it.
Sundays,
Came back to the service again.
Sunday they have, used, I don't know, I haven't been there in a while, Blue Bay.
Yeah.
They was at that time, maybe on Sunday, special, and they had a real good orange sauce.
See, I never ate very much.
And one time, I told Frank, I said, I ate the duck tonight, yeah, he left, money left. Mommy, get a half of it.
Yeah.
He went, yeah, we got it. You're just in time. Just in time, we got the last one. Yeah. Got the last. Oh, cool. It comes out. And it's big.
Yeah.
I thought, I wonder what you got charged for this, regular price. It's starting, and I love it. Yeah, it's got flavor. With that turkey, my wife would shoot the one who was on it. Turkey, yeah.
Ducks are the right size.
Grab some of those pieces of the course and drop them off in Ed's yard.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you got lots of them over there.
They burn your greens out, don't they? Crap all over, yeah.
Ready to go?
And one less
Are you up and running?
Today the 12th.
Behind the side.
No.
Go ahead and change it, you're not doing anything. Go ahead and start.
Shall we start? Okay. Called this Vernon Town Board of Supervisors meeting as of June 20, 2019 to order. Pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Chairman Carl Fortner.
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies.
Present.
Supervisor Gary Wildy.
Present.
Supervisor Ed Moline. Supervisor Lorene Dashick. Mr. Chairman, note for the record that you do have a quorum of your town board, and you are in full compliance with the open meetings law. The agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall to the media, to businesses, and once again, you're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Thank you. Public comments. Yes, sir, please come up and state your name and your street address. And, yeah, please speak into the microphone.
Okay, is it working?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, okay. Keith Grams, South 70 West 22375, Sonoma Way, Big Bend, Wisconsin. Okay, first of all, I would like to express my opinion of the town board meeting of May 16, 2019 at the Big Bend Elementary School. As no video available, the audio is my only source of information, and to say this was a public lynching is an understatement. Personal attacks and accusations were rampant. No meaningful efforts were made to control these attacks, and this was a violation of town board rules on public comments. When the candidates forum and town board meetings were held earlier, by the way, only 1/3 of the new candidates chose to attend. Many comments were made for civility and respectful civil discourse. Evidently, these comments do not apply after the election. Facts and respectful opposing opinions are always welcome and encouraged. They were notably absent at that meeting. Also, on the June 6, 2019 meeting, many facts and percentages were presented by citizens' comments. One that caught my attention was that 5 individuals voted for the border agreement. True, but 5,000 to 6,000 Vernon citizens voted to give that responsibility to these 5 individuals. By being elected, their sworn duty was to protect the citizens of Vernon and secure the future of the town by protecting the borders now and in the future. Hard decisions were made, and I am grateful to the honest and open elected officials who did this under unprecedented and unfounded criticism. Lastly, on the June 6th meeting, a question was brought up about appointed clerk-treasurer position. The auditor stated that only one other municipality that he could remember had a separate treasurer. The appointed clerk-treasurer position gives town officials greater oversight and protects against possible misappropriations and discrepancies. The appointed clerk-treasurer position should be retained. May I suggest that pointless referendums and recall petitions stop wasting taxpayer funds and review all the facts and make an informed vote at election time. This will make a better town board and a better community overall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Further, yes, Mr. Wagner.
Merle Wagner, Somerset Lane, Town of Vernon. I believe that the Town of Vernon residents need to know about the contemptible breed of people that initiated and also are gathering signatures for the recall of Ed Moline. Recently, someone questioned a Vernon resident to sign the recall petition while he was working at the McGuanago Department of Public Works. The Vernon resident refused but was told that he must sign the petition as a patriotic or civic duty. This is one of many complaints from residents refusing to sign the recall. Obviously, prevarication and falsehood are the prerequisites to gaining the majority on our town board. The McGuanago border agreement was originally voted on unanimously by 5 members of the town board. The recall of Ed Moline is a miscarriage of politics by a few against the will of many residents of our town. Ed has helped our fire department into existence, served on the fire commission, the Public Health and Safety Committee, the Ordinance Committee, the DPW, twice elected as town supervisor, held taxes down, blocked annexations, supported exiting county zoning, just to name a few. Ed Moline's recall would definitely be a major loss to the town of Vernon. He is a dedicated and honest person, undeserving of this deplorable treatment. Border agreements, incorporation, annexation, and consolidation are the only answers to preserving our town. Please tell us, what is the current long-term preferred town goal? Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments?
I'm Carol Cody. I live on Hartwig Avenue in the town of Vernon. After listening to the comments at the June 6th Board of Supervisors meeting about the service and commendations awarded to a supervisor while in the Vietnam War, I found this disturbing. I interpreted these comments to mean that people should think more highly of someone because they are a veteran, especially if they receive commendations. Young, inexperienced boys go into battle where their main focus is staying alive and helping to keep their brothers in arms alive. They enter as boys and return as men, ready to begin their adult life where their character will begin to take shape. A person's character, ethics, decision-making, or respect for others has nothing to do with being a veteran. Some veterans drink too much and cause accidents, cheat on their wives and their income tax returns, and actually believe they deserve more respect than non-veterans. This line of thinking would allow veterans to commit crimes and not be held responsible because they are veterans. Everyone is responsible for their actions. Police officers who defend our streets on a daily basis are not always right in their decisions while on the job. Doctors, after many years of medical school, misdiagnose diseases and tumors. Nurses who tirelessly give TLC to their patients give them the wrong medication. General Custer led his men into a trap. Veterans are entitled to disability compensation, pension programs, free and low-cost medical care through VA hospitals and medical facilities and education programs, and deserve these benefits for serving their country. Yes, we should thank veterans for their service and honor them on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. However, character, ethics, attitude, respect, and consideration of others have nothing to do with being or not being a veteran. Touting someone's service record has no place at a township meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Okay, we'll close public comments. We'll move to the agenda matters. I do have to apologize for amending the agenda. These changes were made per Attorney Macy to get it in compliance on a couple of items with the open meetings law, so thus they were made. So let's start with letter A, Village of Big Bend request for fire EMS contracted services. This came as a request from a Village of Big Bend trustee, and I put it on the email, first on the agenda, hoping that the trustee would have came in and outlined what Big Bend is looking for and whether the Big Bend board has adopted a motion authorizing the request at least. And so that's all I know about this. So if someone knows more, Supervisor Moline, you raised your hand, you can.
I don't know any more than you do on that.
Okay.
I asked the same questions as the whole board looking for this. We went through this motion once before and found out that there really wasn't. I'm sorry. There really wasn't a lot of interest once we gave them the price. I did get a call asking me to give you the note, which I did give you, Carl.
Right.
From their president requesting you give him a call, and after today's meeting, you'll have board's authority to do so, I hope, and see if there's an interest on the total board or if this is one supervisor over there or individual. Because I'd hate to see us go through the motions and find out it wasn't interest by the whole group.
Or not, at least not a
Yeah.
good faith interest, I agree. And
So I'd like to table this until such time as you have a chance to talk to them and we get some better information on it.
okay, no action, or do we need a motion to table? Let's just,
I can move for the record, Mr. Chairman, that no formal action was taken at board at this time. Is
Okay.
that in agreement?
Yes.
yep. Anybody further, have any further information they, wish to discuss before we move to the letter B? And I put letter B on just for the purpose stated that if the board wants me to start discussion, I can certainly give them a call and start. I think, our ordinance, I need, a motion to do that. I think you'll see in the attorney's memo that, under Chapter 5 of our ordinances.
I would make a motion to authorize the chairman to start discussions with the Village of Big Bend for possible contracting of fire and EMS services from Vernon.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, unanimous voice vote. And certainly, we can't have more than one supervisor come along, so I'll see, I'll give them a call, and we'll see where it goes, and
Maybe
keep
one
everybody
come here.
apprised, and we'll bring it back. Letter C, possible incorporation of the town of Vernon, Chairman and Supervisor number 3. I put my name, this came as a request from Supervisor Moline. I also wanted to put it on the agenda to discuss, and it was raised in public comments last meeting. I think that was June 6th meeting.
I believe it
And
was.
in your board packet, there is section, we've got section 66.02162, incorporation of certain towns. And just going through the conditions, number 1, letter A, all of the following apply. I can't reach a conclusion one way or another on this, but we clearly meet some of them, including the population exceeding 6,300, which we do. Number 2 is the town is contiguous to a third-class city. When this was discussed with Attorney Macy during the attorney's call, my first thought is, well, sure, Muskego or New Berlin or both, but, you know, he wasn't quite so sure that was a done deal, so that would have to be looked at. Our equalized value is approaching $1 billion, so we're way over the 600 million. The increase of more than 7% in a particular year, I think we'll have to check in with our assessor. We're authorized to exercise village powers, and we have been for many years. Number 6, the town has entered into and is bound by at least 2 separate cooperative boundary agreements. Now, we've got this proposal with, with the village of McWanago, but we do, in the next item on the agenda, you'll see why I put it on there, we do have other possibilities to get those too.
If I may, number 6 was in response to, excuse me, my voice is going. That was what I was looking for in response to the woman asking about incorporation.
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah.
available, but.
But here's the conditions, right?
Yeah.
So we're answering that
So I
question.
just wanted to have that brought out
Yep.
for an answer for.
Right, we're
Okay.
answering that question as well as other citizens who have
Right.
requested it. 7, we have to have a tax incremental financing district, which we don't, but the question would be, can we authorize one to meet the statute? And 7, we've established at least one town sanitary district, which we haven't, but can we in order to meet this criteria? There are other towns are looking at this statute and possibly incorporating. And, you know, my question is, do we at least want to, consider this at least initially, and kind of have an initial review? Some of these are legal questions. Some of these need to be pursued. The assessor with Cal about the 7%. And so if we do, I think it's worthwhile looking at it, and how difficult, number 7, for example, and number 8 would be, whether there's a resolution on whether, Muskego or New Berlin is a third-class city or not. I would think Muskego probably is, but I'm guessing there. So I would ask for a motion to authorize the town chairperson to pursue a legal review, at least an initial legal review. Obviously, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, spend a bunch of attorney's fees that could be better spent elsewhere pursuing something that has no chance of going anywhere. But that's, two reasons why it's on the agenda. One is to answer the questions being raised about incorporation and the conditions, and second, to see if it's worth at least taking an initial look at it as a possibility. Note that this particular section expires after June 30, 2020, so there is some urgency to it. And I know our friends in the town of Waukesha are looking at it, the town of Brookfield, Lisbon, Genesee looking at it. I haven't heard, not yet. So there are other ways to do it. In letter B, we don't meet letter B because we don't exceed 40 square miles. So that one, letter B is out. So that's why I focused on letter A.
Do we have to meet all those conditions, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman?
Yes, all of the following conditions, yes.
Would be eliminated then with the 40 miles then?
Well, the 40 miles is in letter B. That's the second way to incorporate that. So letter B in the statute, which I didn't go through, I was going through the 8 conditions in letter A.
Okay.
Letter B is, to complete the discussion, it's in the statute, but,
Yeah.
we know that we don't have 40 square miles.
No,
So there's
no.
no sense in even looking at any
Right.
further there.
Okay.
If I may suggest, there were 3 or 4 things here that we need to identify for the attorney, I believe, to make sure that we're in the qualified framework of this document before we spend money on it, on a legal review. So I would ask that rather than turn it over to the attorney right now, we give it to Karen or Vince and let them try to identify the numbers that they're looking for here and see if we qualify under those numbers. And then if we do, we go forward with that.
Okay, so the numbers, population,
Population, we know we're at 70-some, 7,000
so
some,
we meet
right?
that. Number 3, we want to check too, if Muskego or New Berlin is a third-class city, and that might be easy to check, might be difficult to check, but certainly, sure, it needs
Right.
to be checked. So that one, okay?
Get documentation on 3?
Three, we
Yeah.
got, we know we're close to $1
Yeah.
billion, so that's just documentation.
4 I can check,
4 you can check, right? That's with Cal.
5 you know we do,
5 we know we do, right?
6 we don't have yet.
6 we don't have. That's the next letter E on the agenda, perhaps.
7 and 8, I can get you information that you can pass on the board and discuss.
Okay.
That should be pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
so we
would
can
think.
provide further information on 7, what, a tax incremental financing, and number 8,
Right.
a sanitary district. Those are both in the statute, so,
Because I guess I would question, do we have a base for a tax incremental district, number one? And secondly was the sewer district, or the septic, what was sanitary district, I'm sorry. We'd have to look at, could we achieve those? Or do we get to use the one we tie in with if they have one?
right.
I don't know how that
Right,
works.
and the town has created one, that doesn't mean we have to be operating one, created
We'd have
one.
to do it, so.
And establish one, that doesn't mean we have to build a plant, but we could
I
establish
think we
one.
just gotta have a location
Right.
designated where it would go.
Well, would that be the legal question?
Yeah.
Would that qualify?
I think those are the things Macy would answer, but if we
Macy
could provide
answer
him.
7 and 8, I would, seems to me.
Yeah,
And I can also provide you with some written documentation that you might want to, what the board might want to review, Carl,
Okay.
and then go to legal after you get.
can we do that?
Sure. Sure, we've got a board meeting, July 9,
Right.
and then we've got a board meeting the following week, plus we've got staff in July, so we've got, well, yeah, I suppose we could do that, if necessary.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, I think we just keep putting on the agenda each time and keep working the information in as we,
Whittle it down,
okay,
okay?
And then authorize the chair to.
Right.
Because there's probably going to be some legal questions.
Yeah.
yeah.
right. And like I say, we've got 3 meetings really in July coming.
Right. And we'll have him at one, so
Yeah, we'll have him on staff.
gives
Might
us
be
an
a good
opportunity to
time
go head
at
to head.
the staff meeting to, then we get free legal advice, actually a little bit, rather
Well,
than have
he's
him give us
he's
a
getting
writ-
charged, he's
Well,
charging us to
he's
be.
getting paid for it, but we, at least, we wouldn't get a written opinion, which could be lengthy and
Sure, we can put,
expensive.
right. And and we'll get it on the agenda, we'll put it on the staff agenda
Sure.
each week, and then
Good.
we'll keep the ball rolling on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Letter E, we put this on an amended because a couple of reasons. One, the attorney said to put it on there, he said he didn't think it would fit under, oops, I skipped D, I'm sorry. Let's do D first. I'm sorry about that. Letter D, status of board agreements with the cities of New Berlin and Muskego, we were just talking about. And on those were, you authorized the town chair, that's in your packet.
Right.
I think, and I was not the town chair, so, well, you can reaffirm it, but I'm not sure what happened if there was discussions and what the outcomes of those discussions were. And so maybe a report on those, if one of the supervisors was part of those discussions or not. I can't, I wasn't part of
As I
them.
recall, they were trying to get meeting dates to get together. Do you know what they ever did?
We did, but I'll let Supervisor Gary Wildy and Chairman Byrd and I went to both the cities of Muskego and New Berlin, met with the mayor and some of their staff. In New Berlin was a lot of planning staff and their attorney. The meeting with the city of Muskego was with the mayor alone. Both mayors talked to their councils, and both mayors reported back that both cities and their councils are very supportive of starting those discussions. Nothing was discussed in regards to where a line would be. Both communities were very interested in seeing our land use plan, and as soon as Attorney Macy finalizes that resolution, I'd like to send that over to both cities because it's very significant in New Berlin and a portion of Muskego to see the land use amendments that the Plan Commission and hopefully the town board are going to adopt.
Would maybe include a letter introducing Carl as the new chairman and say, we're interested in picking this up again. If you're interested after the recent elections?
Um,
And just give him a
Those go to the office of the clerks, the resolutions, they don't go to the mayors, but whenever we correspond, it was always by email through the mayor in New Berlin, his staff appointee, and Mayor Cheverani from Muskego just had said, contact her. So if the board, I don't know if you don't even need a reaffirming, but if the board wants me to start coordinating dates for Carl to meet with them, I'd be more than happy to do that for both the cities. Very
Right.
cordial.
Those meetings, we never came back with any report because we were waiting for input from the cities to respond, and Karen just gave a report in regard to that, which I hadn't heard of, but at the time, I know both the mayors were real receptive to listening to us, at least listening to us, and they said they had to talk to staff, and they had to talk to their councils and to find out what their feeling was. They just didn't make any strong commitment, but they were interested enough that they didn't put us off totally, so I think it'd be a good idea to reopen negotiations with yourself and send that letter and start it back up again, see where they're at, see where we're at.
Okay, that's fine. I'd be happy to meet with them.
Yeah. Especially if Muskego's gonna be the third-class city, it might be necessary to have a border agreement to help, for the,
Right.
Right, the long-range
Okay.
plan was to try to establish all the border agreements
Yeah.
necessary to surround the town more or less and give us protection from being annexed from any corner, so that's where those initiated. Like I said,
They
I
have-
haven't heard anything come out of it, and I think Gary hadn't either.
Yeah.
I know there was conversations that took place and emails back and forth,
Yeah.
so.
I think the city of New Berlin would probably be fairly receptive to a border agreement because they have a problem where they can't come across with water any further than where they're at Crowbar. So they can't extend their boundaries without getting permission from the city of Milwaukee for water, which the city is probably never going to give it to them, And Muskego's kind of in the same boat, but it'd be nice to adhere, talk to them and see what they got to say.
Okay? And the attorney, Macy, didn't say that we need reaffirmation, so
No,
I think
because of-
I think you're
The
right. The motion was, it's this purple sheet in your packet.
I just wanted you to see the standing motion. It doesn't delineate Chairman Byrd. It says town chairman, and Carl is the town chairman, and the statutes reference when a town chairman signs, it doesn't delineate a specific person, but there's no need to redo a motion that's a standing motion. But I know Mr. Chairman wanted your approval for him to start those discussions.
I don't have any problem. Do you need a motion?
nope.
The motion's already in place. so
Motion's already in place.
All you have to do is
Right.
Mr.
Make some
Chairman,
contact.
if you wouldn't mind, I would note for the record that the town board by consensus was in favor of you starting those discussions.
That would be great.
And Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind on C, would you also mind if I put in the minutes that the town board agreed by consensus that the clerk treasurer investigate items 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8?
In the
That was-
statute, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to, something in the minutes that,
2, 3, 7, and 8. And 4, right?
yes, I have 4 in there. I have
Okay,
2,
sorry.
3, 4, and 7,
7 and 8. Right. Okay.
Okay.
By consensus, but note for the record in the minutes.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. Okay. Okay, now letter E. Sorry about that. This is in here based on Attorney Macy's review, and also, I think you forwarded on a request from the town of Waukesha. We just got an email. It came in through the clerk's office, and the clerk forwarded to each of us, and that's the other reason I put it on here at the last moment, last day, I should say, 24 hours. So that would be on the agenda, so we could address it, because they wanted to meet soon, like next week.
Right.
About this. And now, remember, we just went through those conditions, and these other towns are looking at the same incorporation statute, and they're gonna they're gonna have to meet the same conditions. One of those conditions is 2 border agreements. Well, there's nothing in here that says these border agreements gotta be with some city or village. It can be with the town.
Yeah.
And the other reason we should keep in mind that if the town, for example, if the town of Waukesha is successful, it would behoove us, and say we're not, it would behoove us to have a border agreement with the town, now the village, that they can't, start annexing our land, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what they're afraid of too.
And vice versa, and vice versa.
You know, those darn towns are.
So, that's why I put it on, sorry about the late notice, but that's why it's on there, and, to me, if nothing can happen without town board approval. This is just authorization for me, just like cities of Muskego and New Berlin, so I'd be looking just for authorization to, in the event town of Waukesha or McWanago or Waterford contacts us.
Well, Waterford, we can't cross county lines, can we?
No, but you still can have they still like border agreements, even though you absolutely can't cross county lines. A border agreement still is a good thing to have.
Or Walworth does come in between, right?
Well, you say that, but I want to go cross-border
That's why
county
they changed
lines.
the law.
Yeah, and they changed the
That's
law after
exactly
that.
why.
I called Karen on this because they said it says towns. I didn't know we could, do this with towns, border agreements. And she said, oh, yeah, read the rest of the document. Because I had just looked at the response for that lady for the meeting.
Right.
Holy crow, I didn't believe that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's why that's why it's all on the agenda.
Maybe we should tell Waukesha we need so many more square miles to reach the 40.
There you go.
Then they'd say, that's a good idea.
I don't think they go along with that too much.
Well, if everybody's in agreement, I would make a motion to authorize the town chair to start border agreement discussions with the town of Waukesha, McWanago, and Waterford.
I'll second it.
Discussion? So we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Voice vote. Okay, letter F. This goes along with our discussion. That's why I put it as F. And Attorney Macy revised it a little bit. It's a request from Supervisor 3. Request that chairman respond to comments made by Jim Pepper under public comments on June 6, 2019. So I'm not sure what, I know he was asking a bunch of questions. I wasn't quite sure. And, we did discuss on June 6th the border agreement, but, the question was called and we had a vote, so there was limited discussion.
If I could fill in a little something there, I made the comment a little bit ago that when we sat and worked on the border agreement with McWanago, it wasn't a one-step process. The thought process was to follow around our borders and try to figure out how to maintain the town through other border agreements or whatever means were necessary. So when he asked it, he said, okay, what's your future plan? What was his words? What is your end game? And basically, it was just asking, are you going to follow the same plans we had? I mean, we talked about the whole town, the town as a whole, trying to protect the majority of the town since it's been eaten pretty well already. And he was asking you for your opinion on where you think the town board's going to go with this after that.
Well, I'm town chairman, just one of the 5 supervisors, so I can't speak for the rest of the board,
But you came in with some ideas, I would assume.
I did come in with some ideas, and I did talk to Mr. Pepper, not after June 6th, but well before June 6th. So I have talked to him by telephone. So when he says he's never talked to me, or maybe he forgot that he talked to me, but I did talk to him at length about the border agreements, and the particular one that we were talking about was the one with McWanago, and I think I've tried to make it very clear that it's not that I'm against all border agreements or any border agreements. I'm in favor of them. It's just that the particular one with McWanago, I thought the land detachment from Vernon to McWanago was excessive, and the agreement doesn't have provisions for joint planning or even orderly development. And so my view has always been that that should be renegotiated into more reasonable and fair terms for the town of Vernon. And that's where I hope to go with it, with what the board, every board member's is equal with me as far as their vote and their views on, any particular border agreement, whether it's with McGuanago or any of the cities or villages or towns. So, unless someone else wants to
No, I
further
wasn't aware you
discuss,
had
but,
conversations with him other than the question here.
okay. Yeah, I did talk to him.
Afterwards?
I would, no, it's early in May. Before the referendum vote, I talked to him. He called me, and I called him back. Okay. Are we through with left? I don't think there's any, no action needs to be taken. That's just a
No.
discussion item.
It was just a question of
Right,
understanding.
right, okay. Letter G. These are, and Karen had given us all of these last meeting, and these are her proposals to change, in her office, how, the procedures are going to change, given the fact that she's appointed clerk treasurer, and it's, we don't have a elected clerk and elected treasurer separate apart from themselves. And Howard was here, Jensen, the town auditor was here, and as I recall, I asked if these were sent over to him, and he said no, and that Karen said, well, let's get it on the agenda, and we'll get authority to do it. So that's why it's on the agenda, if you remember from June 6th.
I'd like to make a motion to send her procedures to the town auditor for review.
Reviewing
Second.
comment. Okay. Second?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, letter H. This is Supervisor Dashik's request to go through, to discuss the monthly treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until after we've heard from the auditor on his review of her procedures.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I'll second that motion. And so it'll be on a future agenda after we get the auditor's
Yes.
comments. Okay, thank you. Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, letter I. This is to authorize the current clerk treasurer to be the Vernon's designee of the local government investment pool. I know we've used the state investment pool in the past, and we haven't recently. And Madam Clerk, if you want to
Yes, you can see
discuss this.
the state investment pool we haven't used for quite a few years because when we had our audit, I believe in 2016, the auditor was not happy with the fact that we had money tied up in the state investment pool, number one, for the securities issues, and number two, the amount of money that we receive now with the securities where a Citizens Bank puts that $8-9 million into those security funds. You can see the significant change in interest we're making. But with that, the state investment pool every month still, sends a statement and still needs to have paperwork in the event that the town of Vernon would ever want to transfer money into the state investment pool. And you can see by the gentleman's email, he just said, oh, have the former treasurer or a board member sign it. And I told him that doesn't work in Vernon. That has to go to the board. So like I said, if this would ever come up, like if nothing's ever deposited and we don't use it at all, and if that would ever happen, obviously you'd be the first to know, but I would never do any type of change in an account without town board approval.
So you're looking for a motion to
Authorize the town chairman to sign the paperwork that the clerk treasurer will submit to the state investment pool?
as presented in the packet, in the e-packet and the paper packet.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to liquor and cigarette licenses.
I just wanted to tell the board, Chairman Fortner went through each one of these liquor license with me, and there are several of the liquor license that need to be changed. They're noted and highlighted, and all those changes will be made, and I will show the chairman before those liquor licenses are issued that how the changes are made and the corrections. They're not major ones, but they're significant. Liquor licenses are, as you can see by your paperwork, are very, very critical. So if there's a signature missed or a licensing number missed or an EIN number or a no where it should be a yes, it is very critical because the liquor license is issued based upon that documentation. So if the town board, which I hope they're in a position to approve these, they would be approved individually, predicated by the fact that the corrections that the clerk, treasurer, and chairman went through are properly made, and that all fees are paid, which they all are, except for one liquor license. One applicant has not paid their fee, but they truly don't have to till the end of the month, so.
And we do have a June 30 deadline.
Yes.
So it's not like we could send, Karen back, call all these people and tell them to come in here and make all these changes. And, some of them, like she said, would, pretty serious, as in the license period beginning July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30, 2019. So, I mean.
Or they say they're an LLC and then they check partnership. I mean.
Or check corporation. And
right.
A couple pages weren't signed, they signed one place, not another. I mean, I think the people are going to have to come in and fix these.
And two of them have, Mr.
Right.
Chairman, but I just wanted to let you know that Carl has gone through these with a fine tooth. I mean, there was nothing fraudulent, it's just applicant error.
Right. So should we do these all at once or one by one?
Individually.
Individually.
And the first gentleman's name is Get a Job, I can't pronounce, Callahan?
Kalan,
Yes.
Get a Job, Kalan, doing business as R&S Midway Market, and we should have a standard motion. So the motion would be to approve, depending on what it is, the liquor and cigarette licenses, or just the liquor license, depending on the applicant, subject to what changes is made. Town chairman and clerk treasurer. And payment of all fees, even though they might have all paid, but,
Yeah, there's only one that condition was applied,
okay.
so the payment,
Who, the payment clause belongs on which one?
HUNN.
Okay, the back, on the back. At least, oh, it's the second one.
Second one, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, shall I start them?
Yeah.
Everybody say, yeah.
Yeah.
You've been through them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion that the liquor and cigarette license for Get a Job, Kalan, doing business as R&S Midway Market LLC is approved, subject to changes made by the town, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and the town clerk treasurer.
I'll make that motion.
I mean, the motion, you can second it?
Second it.
Okay, so there's a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Oh, should I say this here? Okay, a friendly amendment for the 2019-2020 licensing year. Friendly second, Ms. Dasher?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I'll make a motion that a Class A beer and liquor license for the 2019-2020 licensing year for Jim Hun, doing business as New Era Sales LLC, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and the town clerk treasurer and the payment of all fees. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, should I note for the record that Supervisor Jim Millies is not voting on the next, not participating in the discussion and/or voting on the next agenda item?
Well, there's two of them in there. So, for yours and
Yeah.
Modern Starts,
I'll
because of,
abstain.
okay. We'll note that for and the record and the reason why. I'll make a motion that a Class B beer, liquor, and cigarette licenses for the 2019 and 2020 licensing year for Frederick L. Millies doing business as Edgewood Golf Course, Inc., subject to changes, or be approved, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and the town clerk treasurer.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous with one abstention. I'll make a motion that a Class B beer, liquor, and cigarette licenses for the 2019-2020 licensing year for Jim Prucci III, doing business as Morningstar Golfers Club, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and town clerk treasurer. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. I'll make a motion to approve the Class B beer and liquor license for the 2019-2020 licensing year for Kim Hollenbach, doing business as It Ain't Heaven, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and the town clerk treasurer. Is there a second? Kim? Oh, yes, it says in the agenda Kim Hollenbach. Kim King.
Yeah, it should be authorized for Kim King.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kim King has signed the application.
Right.
You are correct, sorry.
Sorry, sir.
I will change that motion before the second. Is there a second?
With that name.
With that name, Kim King.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, hold-
Whoop, okay.
Karen, this the only one that, it's a tavern and doesn't sell cigarettes?
No, she doesn't sell cigarettes.
Okay.
You can get your smoke somewhere else, Gary.
Well, no. I'm just saying, it's highly suspicious that a tavern doesn't sell cigarettes, because every tavern I've ever been in, it always sold cigarettes, you know. So,
Maybe
I'd
that
like to
got
go in there
busted.
sometime and ask for a pack and see.
Maybe they got busted
Got
for
it,
smoking
yeah.
inside.
You know, well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe the rule about smoking in a public place has caused them to not to sell cigarettes anymore. Okay. I just thought it was
Odd.
kind of unusual.
And she hasn't had one in the past. These are all renewals.
Yeah,
Yes,
These are all renewals, so,
okay. Well,
okay, so, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Supervisor Millies is back voting. Doug DeBack. So I'll make a motion to approve the beer license for the licensing year 2019 to 2020 for Doug DeBack, doing business as the Siege Paintball LLC, subject to changes made and approved by the town chair and the town clerk treasurer. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. I do note his application was the best.
He's got the easiest one.
yeah,
And a very unique one. He had to go to the state of Wisconsin to get, just to make sure we were kosher on that. He's good.
Okay. Yes, there was just one minor correction on his, unlike the others. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Bartender's license.
Mr. Chairman, just want to state to the board that Ms. Kayla Casper has everything in order. Her application is fully completed. She's completed all her courses to facilitate and operate her bartender's license. All fees have been paid. You can see her record is exemplary, and I would recommend the town board approve the operator liquor license for Kayla Casper.
Right, and this is a new application. So do we have a motion?
make a motion to approve the license, operator's license for Carla Casper for,
That's good.
yep, that's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, letter L. Request to have the spring and summer 2019 newsletters put back up on the town's website, Supervisor 3. And we've got a bunch of information in our packet with background on this issue.
Would you like me to start on this?
Sure.
I got some calls and they were asking what happened to that. I had thought, and I explained to them incorrectly, that we had told them we just wanted to remove the portions that were going to be redacted because they were in conflict with the law. We thought we were leaving the rest of it on. We were just redacting that document so that they could read the other things relative to sports and everything else. She said, this woman that called says, well, there's nothing on there for that. How do I find out? And I told her to call Mike, but and it was regarding sports. So I called Karen and said, what's going on? I thought that was just redacted. She said, no, your motion, we removed it. So apparently I didn't know what I removed. So now we're going to go back and ask that it be put on redacted so that the rest of the newsletters, they're available for them looking at, whatever information they want. And she said she had a marked up redacted copy of it. I have no problem with that. We weren't looking to break the laws. We were just looking to post something for the informational purpose of providing that to the town. So I would like to get that put back up so people could see what they were looking for until the next newsletter where we can repeat it again.
Mr. Chairman, I did give you copies of the two newsletters that you're talking about. I X'd out the articles that I felt were the issues that the board was talking about. And also in the summer 2019, took the liberty of, if we're changing things, we could update the new board members. There's a small error on one of the fees for the one of our recreational fees, and we could also put the new information on the fall, what's going to be the fall brush drop-off, instead of, we could redo that article. If we could redact the spring one and just make the changes in regards to the summer of 2019.
Yeah, that's.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think the issue was with the redacted articles. I think as a matter of, for whatever reason, we took, the vote was to take down the.
I made the
But the
motion.
rest of the,
I
yeah, right.
thought I
The
made it
rest
one
of the
way, and apparently
information
it turned out a
is-
different.
The rest of the information, other than what our clerk treasurer just mentioned, the updating of the town officials.
Right.
The fall brush pickup, which we just changed.
Hopefully
and-
we can modify that a little.
Right, and the, I think there was one fee.
Sports.
Yeah. Well, one fee is 60 instead of 55.
I think it had to do with dates as well, when things, whatever.
So, is there, the question is, how are you gonna change those articles when this is kind of like a newsletter? Can you go in and, it's a PDF file?
Well, yeah,
so you
we'll
can-
PDF it, but it's a
Okay.
publisher file, so it's real easy to take those articles and just put a
Crop
little
them.
note that redacted per town board request where the articles were,
Okay.
and then just update we wouldn't redact any, well, we redact the summer portions. The spring, we'd do the redaction, and then the correction to the elected officials, the fall brush drop-off, the
Increase
Pee Wee
of
soccer
fees,
fee, the small changes. Put that in there also, so.
I see we got the memo on the board for the, or on
Yeah,
the door.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that posted anywhere else?
on the website,
It is, okay.
right, and then when people come in, we just have to explain to them that there was a typo. But,
Okay.
and Mike's gonna email his Pee Wee people, because usually those Pee Wee people are repeats, or instructional soccer are repeat people.
Yeah,
And then when the new ones come in, normally when they come in, they're signing a check and making their amount out right then and there, so that's why it's posted out there.
okay,
so.
all right.
Okay, so do we have some sort of motion?
The motion would be to authorize the clerk treasurer to put up the redacted summer 2019 and the redacted spring 2019 with the corrections made to the summer of 2019 regarding the redaction, the updated elected officials, a correction to the Pee Wee Soccer and the update on the fall brush drop-off.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Any further discussion? All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Letter M. This is a request by Supervisor Moline to replace Supervisor Dashik on the Town of Vernon Finance Committee. I think you gave us the ordinance, which I can't find, but it's in here somewhere. Supervisor Moline.
I had abstained when you had made the motion to put Mrs. Dashik on the Finance Committee. The reason I did so is I believe that someone that does something and then refuses to take responsibility for it in a financial situation it's questionable whether that person should be involved in a financial board. So my thoughts are I'd like to see that changed to someone else. I know it's up to the board, so it's up to the board to vote, but knowing the history, and I think most of the board members do, Carl may not, I think it's only appropriate that that be taken care of.
And
Considering we still have not got a resolution to that.
Well, as I understand it, the Waukesha Sheriff's Department is closed.
The Waukesha Sheriff closed it because they couldn't find any statutes that related to the issue as we applied it. Her suggestion to me was give it to your town's attorney and take it in civil court where it can be adjudicated. So I don't see any need to take a $1,698 bill to the attorney who's going to charge more than that to get it through the court. I'm not looking to make this a court issue. I'm looking to get the town paid back for the money. And that's all I want. That's our job, that's our duty and responsibility as members of the board to make sure that we protect the finances of the town. She is now on the board.
That issue is not on the agenda. What's on the agenda, it might be a reason, okay, but it's not on the agenda.
It's
So we
an
can't-
explanation of
It's
why
an
I'm asking
explanation,
it. So
right.
it is on the agenda as far as asking for her to be replaced on the
Well,
finance committee.
that is on the agenda, right? And the
I'm entitled
explanation
to give
is.
an opinion of why that
Right,
should take
right,
place.
that's helpful.
So it is.
Okay, so, and I thought she would be a good candidate for the Finance Committee, being the former treasurer, to help establish, in particular, and review policies and procedures on the combined clerk-treasurer's office, and to work with the Finance Committee directly as a member in order to establish those new procedures and so on, now that we have a combined clerk-treasurer. That's my principal reason why I appointed her, and this, town board approved her. Obviously, she can be replaced per the ordinance, but that's my rationale. As far as the explanation of the amount owed, I did look at that, and I see the number, but I don't see the explanation of the rationale, and that isn't on the agenda, and perhaps at some point we can put it on the agenda.
I can give you the whole
If,
packet.
if necessary, but that would be a little far removed from, this appointment.
You don't think the ethics of a person with financial history should apply?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well, yeah, you just did.
Well, no, I didn't. Okay, let me
You
say
gave
it more,
reasons
let me
why.
say this more directly. I don't know that the amount of money that is claimed to be owed
It could be $2 as far as I'm concerned.
is correct, okay?
Oh, the money, the
Yeah.
amount?
Yeah, the amount or.
Forget the amount. It's the intent. There was a mistake made. I'll put it that way. There was a mistake made. Anyone that makes a mistake is free to come and correct that mistake. When asked several times to come, begged, I sent her an email begging that rather than force me to go to the sheriff, give me a solution. Didn't get it. If this was $10, I don't care. It's wrong that it's taken and not repaid, period. It's owed, it should be refunded. And if you want the detail, it's totally available. I can provide it. But I'm not here to give the detail, I'm here to ask that she not be involved in that portion. And you made one other comment that I think will create problems. There's animosity between her and the clerk treasurer position at this point. So I think that's not gonna be a great solution. I think it'd be more of a rub.
Well, I can't comment
done.
I can't comment on the animosity.
I'm done.
That's,
I would like
they're-
the board
they're-
to
the
look
two
at
people
this.
that you just implicated are sitting right here.
Yeah, I would just like to review that, see if the board's still of the same mind they were when they voted to put her in. If they're not, fine, drop it. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, it was just here's my opinion.
I abstain, so it's up to somebody else to make a motion.
You know, I agree with Ed's comments, but also ever since I've been on the board, the finance committee has always held joint with town board. So even though if you remove her off the finance committee, she'll still be attending all the meetings as a town board member. But I understand the principle behind what you're saying, Ed, and I agree with you on that point.
And that's what I'm after, I mean, you're setting an example here. I don't think it's a great example to
Excuse me,
set.
this is your opinion.
Excuse
this
me,
is
I'm entitled to
your
my opinion, I
opinion.
have the floor right now.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm done.
Let's
That's it.
take our turns.
I'm done.
Supervisor Dashik,
Excuse me?
you said you were done talking, right?
Is there-
Supervisor,
Well, unless somebody's gonna refute me, then I'd like to respond.
okay. Supervisor
Is there a
Dashik.
motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we take a vote on whether or not Lorraine Dashick should be replaced on the town of Vernon Finance Committee.
I'll second it.
Okay, now we have a motion
Yeah.
made and seconded. Discussion, Supervisor Dashik.
For the record, I did nothing wrong. I did not overcharge any kind of mileage. I have been totally cleared in your investigation. This is your opinion, Ed Moline.
No.
It's just your opinion.
Supervisor Moline, letters, please.
Go ahead.
Please continue until you're finished, Supervisor Dashik.
I've said all I need to say, Carl.
Okay.
Let them vote.
Okay, further discussion. Okay, so now we have a motion to, what was your motion? To take a vote to replace Supervisor Dashik from the Town of Vernon Finance Committee, as I remember the motion, and second.
Close enough.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose. Motion carry, and one abstention, Supervisor Dashik. Motion carries 3-1. Opposed is Chairman Fortner. All right, letter N. Committee openings and requests for volunteers. This was put on by Supervisor Moline. Obviously, it's on my radar screen too, and we did get an updated list. If you'd like to read openings, or I'll read openings. And of course, we're always requesting for volunteers. You want to read them, or should I read them?
Go ahead.
Okay. Board of Appeals, we have one opening. Finance Committee, now we have one opening. Fire Commission, we have one opening. And I do have we'll have a call, I will be speaking with John Maney about that opening. There has been interest in that. So I will state that at this point. DPW Committee, if I'm reading this right, there's at least 3 openings, is that right?
Yes.
3 openings, DPW. Public Health and Safety,
You know, I'd be willing to serve on the DPW committee because we don't have a supervisor on that committee as of now.
And you can actually go to 7 on that according to the,
And according to the ordinance?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was questioning about the 3 openings, because I thought it might have been even more than
Yeah.
that. Okay, well, it's not on the agenda to make appointments, but I'm taking
Right.
notes. Right. So, we will get, committee appointments back on the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, public health and safety, there's 2, yeah, 2 members whose terms expired, and I meant to say on the Board of Review, there's 2 terms that have expired, and also on the DPW, there's 1 term has expired, and I can certainly contact these people and see if they're willing to continue or not continue.
It's Board of Appeals, Mr. Chairman? You said Board of Review.
Sorry, Board of Appeals.
Yes.
Sorry about that. And so public health and safety, there's 2 there that terms have expired. Ordinance Committee, there's 1 vacancy and 3 terms that have expired. Weed Commissioner, term expires 2021, so we're there, good there. Park and Recs, Supervisor Millie is on that committee. 1 other, the liaison, there's 3 openings. Water Monitoring Committee, 1 vacancy and 2 terms expired. Our Emergency Government Coordinator, of course, is our Fire Chief. Personnel Committee, 3 open, if I'm reading this right, 3 openings and 1 term expiring, and Supervisor Millie's, you're on that committee. Southeast Wisconsin Fox River, Mr. Bartholomew just resigned, so his
Son?
he recommended his son. I haven't talked to Bob. It's hard to get a hold of him out when he's in his tractor. But I will give him a call if there's others that are interested, including our alternate.
I would
Maybe
ask
we'll
that
start
you
with him.
At least because
Yeah.
he's gone to several meetings and he has an unbelievable knowledge.
Right.
Not just because of his age, but a fantastic knowledge of the Fox River as it relates to the town of Vernon. Nothing against Mr. Bartholomew's son, but Mr. Manthe is probably double his age and double the history.
Well, I will call them both, although I don't have phone numbers for either on this sheet, but we'll get phone numbers and we can get one and get the other as an alternate, continue as an alternative, I hope.
He's on the line.
Can I ask a question here? Mr.
Sure.
Chairman? In regard to committees, we passed that ordinance for this, do we have to put a committee in place for this, the sex
Oh, yeah.
orientation ordinance? Do we have to put some kind of a committee
It's
together for
a,
that too, don't we?
The review committee?
Yeah,
or-
the review committee or the
for
review board or
sexual
something for,
Placement?
right.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to have to amend the ordinance to include that also, a standing
So we need
committee,
to get some volunteers. How many do we have to have for that?
3,
3,
a minimum of 3.
minimum of 3.
Yeah.
So we will need to do an ordinance amendment, which we'll have to get done and get on the agenda,
Right.
and then look for volunteers for that too. Those 3 members, do not necessarily need to be supervisors or
No.
chairmans or
Could be
ordinary
town
citizens, I
residents
think town residents.
who have an interest in,
We have a lot of police officers in Vernon, just so you
Pardon?
know. I can give you all their names.
I would imagine there'd be people volunteering for that, that have an interest in.
Right. And then we have a school board liaison, and that term expires in 2020, so not that we've heard from this person for a while.
This isn't
That's not even a committee,
it's
is
not
it?
even in your ordinance as a standing committee, and we never hear from her or call, I don't even know. I
Huh.
have never heard.
Well, when we look at the ordinance and get that on the agenda, maybe we can look at that too at the same time. Okay. That's letter N.
Thank you.
Letter O, Chairman, discussion with town attorney and town attorney memorandum supervisor number 3. And I'm not sure, we do have the memorandum and we do have a town chair call. And the clerk treasurer is on that call as well.
Right. This one pertains to the agenda, and that's what Macy puts out to the whole board. If there's other conversations, I understand you made a call even after I had explained to you that in the job description, I know you didn't wanna, but your job description required you to sign the documents because you signed for the town and the board. You made a call to Macy asking if you needed to sign that document. He said something about, let's look up the ordinance. I question, why would you need to call him to look up an ordinance?
That was on a regular call.
Yeah, there was, I never called him special on that.
No?
No,
No,
Nope.
I can attest to that, Ed, because when the resolution was on the agenda for adoption, Chairman Fortner did say, do I have to sign that document? And Attorney Macy did go to the state statutes and indicated to Mr. Chairman where he was obligated. To my knowledge, you didn't make a separate call.
That was
I
not a
think I
separate call.
actually found it faster.
No, that
than-
was not, I
That
can
was not a
attest.
separate call, not a separate call. And I think I found the statute quicker than he did.
He did.
Bad info.
Honest to God, he did. We have a test who can find the statute faster than John.
My thought was, if you have other conversations, and you may because you're gonna get involved with these border agreements now and all, they may not refer to the agenda, but you may have conversations. We'd like to know what those were. In the past, those were presented to us even beyond this sheet, which this is standard. And
Well, certainly if it's an agenda item, it would be on this sheet. And if it's a closed session item, let's say, for example, a border agreement, it would be reported in that meeting.
But let's say you're going and talking with these people and questions come up that you're not comfortable answering, you have to call Macy. But it's not on the agenda yet because you're not ready to put it there. There's nothing came out of it of importance to put it there. Other than maybe a note that says, we had a discussion with the attorney in reference to this. So that we know these calls are going on, because I'm looking at his bills and I want to know where they're coming from.
Mr. Chairman, I do have to state, there's times that I or Vince or John, we have a legal issue. And unless it's an emergency,
Right.
We would never call the planner. But there has been times when John's walked in or Vince or I have, something, I don't know how you want us to handle. Usually I try to tell you what's going on. It's not related to the agenda, but since we have the attorney on the phone, and he'll ask, is there any, or one of the guys will come in and say, when you guys are talking, they know when we talk.
Yeah, and I'm not looking for memos or, just let us know what's going on. It doesn't have to be a agenda item, it doesn't have to be, well, you could do it in your comments. Just to let us know there's things going on that's not officially on the, 'cause I know
Well,
they-
certainly if it's going to be, to me, if there's some town board action that needs to be done, and we discussed it with the town attorney, it's
You
going to be on
would-
the agenda. If it's not going to be on the agenda, certainly. I mean, and if it's a closed session item because it's a contract or an agreement or what have you, then it'll be in
That
closed
was my
session.
request.
Yeah.
Anything that falls out of the norm, we know about.
Okay, request received.
That's a request.
Okay.
It's not official.
Any
It's a
further
request.
comments on that agenda item?
Okay.
Okay. Number 8, correspondence and announcements. And reports. Oh, yeah, we're going to combine those someday on the agenda. It's all together. All right, so we start with town board members. Supervisor Millies,
I have no correspondence or reports at this time.
Supervisor.
Yeah, I have some. I've received in the last week or so at least 3 inquiries as to why we don't have Channel 25 any longer broadcasting the meetings. And I tried to inform these people that our equipment is antiquated to the point where this is what I got from Karen, that we can't put it out. These people are extremely upset because a lot of them are having trouble getting it on the internet. I told them how to access it through YouTube. A couple of them said, I don't know how to do that. And I turned on my TV and I always got the town board meetings. And I would appreciate it, if you bring this up and can it be put on the agenda to find out what it would cost us or how we would go about putting our meetings back on Channel 25. I know there's a lot of people in the town that's on Spectrum TV. And I know some of the other, I don't have Spectrum, I have a different cable service, and I can't get the town board meetings, but I think according to what the franchise fees are, we must have a lot of people in the town of Vernon have Spectrum TV. And I think a lot of them would like to see it on TV. So I would like to have this go back on the agenda for a discussion down the, even if we have to talk about it at budget time or something like that in regard to, the more publicity we get out for our meetings, the better off we are.
Okay, so we'll get that on a future agenda. In
Okay.
the meantime, I think our
Appreciate
clerk
it.
treasurer will.
I still get it on 25.
Oh, okay, well,
You do? How?
Yeah.
How?
I just got
I
it.
don't know how you get it, because Karen said it's not going out.
My wife just texted. She's watching it right now on 25
Live you do it,
live.
yes. Yeah, she's right. Live, yes, it's
Okay.
broadcasting live, right? It's
But what
not
about-
rebroadcast.
It's the rebroadcast. That must be,
Okay.
because if you missed the live broadcast, you can't pick it up on the rebroadcast because it doesn't get rebroadcasted.
Right, but you're under public comments.
But that's what I would like to see us talk about it. Okay. The other thing is a quick update, maybe I shouldn't be talking about that, but John, I talked with John at length yesterday in regard to that culvert that we authorized, and it was taken care of, and it was a very, what did he say, difficult job. And he's glad that it was handled professionally by the people that he contacted with. It was done in one day. The people were inconvenienced on Maple Avenue for one, I don't know if that affected you. You live over there off of that. But the road was closed for a day. And he said that
Yes.
it was taken, it was accomplished, and water's flowing through that culvert in a good rate now. So, and it wasn't, it narrowed down to a point where there was only about a 6-inch diameter left of that culvert, and it was all destroyed. But anyway, it's fixed. He's happy. Now we can go ahead with the road reconstruction starting next week. So John said we probably could have handled it ourselves if we had had the qualified help, but he's down 2 people, so it needed to be taken care of, and I'm glad we authorized John to take care of it. And it was handled the next day. They came in the next day and took care of it. So, other than that, that's all I really had, Mr. Chairman,
and just as a follow-up on that, if John was here, he could, yeah, I understand it was a mess. The road was closed. It was done on Wednesday, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if the water's flowing the way it exactly is. It's pooling up. I just drove over it.
Well,
I just drove over it about an hour and a half ago.
How was
so
it?
It's, the water's going through, but there's big,
Yeah, it's
small ponds, I'd say, on each side of the
heard he's got a
culvert.
little more
So-
ditching
so
to do and-
the- Probably more ditching, right.
He's not finished totally.
Right,
but-
they were out there working on it this morning
Yeah,
as
but
well,
he said it
so.
was really a difficult situation because they were dealing with trying to stop the water and trying to put the culvert in. They had a
Gas
gas
line.
line that went right directly over the top of the culvert that they had to be careful that they didn't break that.
I guess
So-
they had 2 pumps trying to keep the
Yeah,
water out.
yep. He said it was.
Yeah, it was messy.
But anyway, it's done. That's the main thing that right now.
We're mostly done. They're gonna work on
Mostly, yeah.
it tomorrow, I think, too.
He's got to finish up, but he said the culvert's in.
Okay, well, yes, it is in. I can tell you
That's
that.
half the battle.
Okay, anything
Other
else?
than that,
Super?
that's all I had.
Okay, Supervisor Moline.
I had the same calls Gary did, so I haven't got anything else to talk about. They were referring again to Channel 25 and requesting that we do something. And my request was gonna be to Karen to do what she's gonna do, check and see what it costs to get that
Update
back
our
on the air and see if it's worth it. I think the request is from the citizens, they'd like to see it again.
Supervisor Dashick.
Well, in that same line of franchise fees, I've had people inquire what are the franchise fees. They're not even aware that they're paying these franchise fees. The Vernon residents don't know that they're paying 3% of their video services on their bill. They're totally unaware of it. There's something that the town board imposed on them, they don't know about it. So without getting Channel 25, they're getting
Nothing for that franchise fee that they're paying. That's
Any-
the only announcement I have.
Okay. Town chairman, I think the culvert that we approved and is in process.
Yeah,
right?
sorry.
So, and the road projects, the road project between Highway L and Sand Hill Ridge Reserve Road on Maple Avenue is going to start, I think, according to John, Monday, this coming Monday, June 24, and hopefully done in a week. Otherwise, 4th of July week and is coming up. Everybody have a happy 4th of July and safe 4th of July. And again, we'll get to that. We moved our town board meeting off of July 4th, but we'll get to that. But that's my report, clerk treasurer report. I know you have a bunch of things to report.
Well, I emailed the board on the correspondence from the county. I mean, I wasn't mad that we got the check for $6,000, but I reiterated the email that she sent to me saying we wouldn't get any money. She said that the $6,000 is the only money that we're going to get, but I just wanted to clarify when I reported via her emails.
Isn't that per quarter, though?
No,
That's just a one-time?
that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing too is on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day, people are either in my office or on the phone complaining about the Cation property on 164 National. So you saw my email that went out to the county, the DNR, and our county supervisors. I should tell you that I'm going to put this on the website. The DNR agent that is in charge of citing that business owner for those constant violations. That was just settled in court, tens of thousands of dollars in fines to him and the village. And she, very, very nice agent, gave me her name, her phone number, her email, that people can contact her anytime because they're getting, I said to her, when I talk to the residents, I ask them to please call the village. The village is unresponsive to their calls and nothing's being done. And you can see the snowplow that plows the dirt. And if you go down National Avenue, you can see the dirt that's in the ditches. And I also copied Alan Barrows because I don't know who does the Village of Big Bend's stormwater or erosion control, but those are major, major violations to your stormwater permitting process. So on the website, I'm going to put Brooke Robinson's name and phone number, and she also gave me an 800 number that if people see, not only for this site, but if there's any violations that they don't want to give their name, it's the tip line that people can call in at any time. But Brooke specifically asked for me to give her phone number out to any residents that want to call her because she's the construction and permit person and also works closely with Jacob Zimmerman, who's our contact for our municipal stormwater permitting process. So I just want to let you know that that'll go on the website. I'll email all this information. She called me about 3:30 this afternoon to give me an update on what the DNR is doing. I haven't heard anything from the county yet because I did talk to a very nice lady on Monday, and she said she was going to contact the county supervisor, not board supervisor, but the Waukesha County is divided by supervisors. I gave her a couple violations that we saw, and I haven't heard back from the county yet. But if you get phone calls, which we do continually, I'll put that on the website. And also, there have been 2 people that applied for fireworks permits, and explained that it would have to go on the town board agenda. And just wanted to let everybody know that there's no time to get a fireworks permit, and there hasn't been any issued for the town of Vernon. So, just so you know. And have a happy, safe, wonderful 4th of July.
On the property you mentioned, I did drive through that area.
Isn't that unbelievable?
And it was so dusty that I had to shut down, get all the windows, everything shut down, and to recirculate the air in the truck and the whole thing. Otherwise, it was a cloud.
Yeah.
It was visibly a cloud of dust when I drove through at about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
Well,
When it rains.
So much rain this year so far.
Right, that it's tapped it down, and now it's mud, but
And it
today it
dries out.
dried
Well,
off, and now it's dust.
Well, the trucks all pulling out, after they dump, so it's.
Right. Okay, thank you for that report. Finances, accounts payable. I did notice some sales tax coming through on
Yeah.
these protective
What the-
clothing.
I did,
Uh,
I'm gonna
Go
call.
ahead, Gary.
Go ahead, Gary.
I called
Kabaki?
John Kabaki this afternoon,
Oh.
and I also called the company that does the embroidering,
Yeah.
and talked to them, and she said, if the people come in there and say that they're getting items for their business attire for the fire department, they won't charge a tax. All they have to do is ask to have it not, and they won't do it. But in talking to John, he said that a lot of these people will buy online stuff, and,
I saw one online.
yeah,
here.
and they get charged a tax for it. He said the only upside to this is that it goes against their account. In other words, they only have so much they can spend, and once it's eaten up, they don't get a tax deduction for paying the taxes. In other words, it's included in how much they're allowed. But, I told him, well, what you want to do, John, is mention it to your people to ask for a tax exempt, that they want it to be tax exempt. And then if they need to get a certificate, then talk to Karen or to John, and he's got it, and he can make a copy of it, and they give it to the individual. He said, I can't give 60 of them out to members of the department, but when a person goes to buy something. But so I told him it's an ongoing problem, and it's also a case of, it adds up. You know, it's only $2 here, $4 there, or 10, but at the end of the year, it's a couple $100 in taxes that we don't have to pay, that we're paying. So John said he would talk to his members and try and get it straightened out a little bit. So that's,
And Mr. Chairman, one thing I would like to do is copy the tax exempt certificate on a Town of Vernon letterhead, email it to all 4 chiefs, put extra copies up on the board, and have them email, because embroider me, I talk to them, I set it up so that anytime someone comes, a fire
Yeah,
department personnel
she's-
comes in for
I
fire.
talked to the owner today, and she said that she would, if all they gotta do is tell her it's for fire department attire, and she won't charge them a tax, you know. But if it's for personal, something, like if they get a special kind of shirt that doesn't relate to the Vernon Fire Department, well, naturally, they're gonna have to pay the tax on it. But if it's for something on the job, which most of those people go in there to get, then they shouldn't have to pay tax on it. And she said she agreed with that.
I had a previous conversation with her and explained to her that when you're putting all these emblems that relate to the fire department on, doesn't that ring a bell that that's something that's gonna be, because she has a certificate. She has it on
Yeah.
file. She just
She's just
wants
charging.
people to remind her,
But they have to
remind her
Yeah.
to use it. So she says she knows she's got it there. And I said, well, we'd like your help. You know, if you see people come in, they're having Vernon Fire Department patches put on their clothing,
Yeah.
maybe that should clue somebody into the fact, but she
Yep.
was pretty insistent she needed people to tell her, so apparently that's not good
Well,
enough.
now with maybe a reminder for me too, now you and me, maybe she'll,
Yeah, I actually went down, I was there for something else and I talked
You
to her
stopped?
about
Oh,
it, yeah.
all
and
right.
So she's very nice.
oh yeah, she
It's
was real
just,
pleasant.
she doesn't feel the burden's on her to do this, so. Huh?
Our guys can open their mouth, you know.
It would be nice, yeah. And John should remind them if they're
Yeah,
gonna go
that's
out
what
and
he's
buy the
gonna do.
clothing.
He's gonna do that.
I had questions on old invoices. Waukesha County Fire Chiefs Association, and it was dated. Did you get a chance, did Alex talk to you about these at all, or are we gonna see some, charges come at us off these old invoices from back in, what was it, February?
Just so you know, I just got those.
I'm sorry?
I just got those, so it's not like I hung
I
on to
said,
them.
I figured, Karen, but he didn't say anything, he just gave them to you, and
Hey,
I,
If you want, I
Okay.
could send him
as
an
long
e-
as we don't see some finance charges on it, I'm not gonna kick a little bit, but
Yeah, there's really never, I know he's holding
he
on to
sits
one
on stuff.
significant bill.
yeah.
He's arguing, which is explainable, it's pretty old, but he's arguing back and forth with that vendor.
February, yeah.
So you got a receipt?
It's an invoice. I don't know the situation, but I know Alex, it's a major vendor for the fire department.
It
But he
is.
has a disagreement with the invoice, so that one's dated.
Other than that, I
Well,
didn't find any
and
mistakes in
sometimes it
here.
makes sense to pay what you think you owe and
And then, right, a portion
Yeah,
of
it was
it,
clean.
whatever
It
is
what do
really
you
was.
think is
fair,
right.
yeah. And stipulate on the bill, I'm not paying this because,
for whatever reason.
right,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Any further discussion on any of the payables?
No.
Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept accounts payable
Approve.
batch.
Approve?
10A,
You're approving?
a batch, I'm sorry, you want the
Approve.
approved, the
Right.
batch 20190620 in the amount of $70,786.18.
Is there a second?
I'll support it.
Second by Supervisor Wildy. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. One manual check for life insurance, I think, employee life insurance, for $118.81.
Make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. April 2019 financial statements.
I just wanted the board members to know on your balance sheet, there was one number that I needed to talk to Howard about. So on your April financial park impact fee statement on your balance sheet, I circled that, I wanted to talk to Howard, I did get my answer. So on your May, April financial statement, you will see the corrected amount in the park impact fee is like $581.
I saw that.
That's the only.
I saw that note.
And Mr. Chairman, at the next agenda, there's some more financial information that we'll supply to the board, but you had so much at this meeting, I didn't want to add even, I know. I know.
There was that, and I noted that. Thank you for explaining that. The other question I had on the financial information on the Citizen Bank account statements, our primary checking account is paying interest at the rate of 2.60%, but then there's other accounts, and I'm wondering why the interest rate isn't the same, and maybe it's the type of account, and if it's the type of account, maybe we should change that account. There's a U.S. Cellular account, a Cricket account, a Park Impact Fee account, and I think that's it because the other funds are part of the general checking account.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's all combined.
Yes, yep.
And those three are separate funds. They're paying 0.25% as opposed to 2.6%. And, interest rates are up. The question is, why aren't they getting paid the same
Yeah, I didn't
percentage yield?
establish those, but I can check into it.
Okay.
Even though they,
Maybe,
That's how banks
we
make-
used to didn't care because interest rates were 0.2 everywhere. But now,
Starting to go up.
it's going up.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and these accounts have, are
Right.
above 10,000, so it's worthwhile checking. Thank you.
Interest paid.
Yeah, I know, I saw
17
that.
cents.
We're killing them.
So,
$2.44. $2.16.
right, they need to make a request. Right. Right. Okay, so do we need any action in the April?
no,
Nope,
it's just,
just information. So now we're on to approval of
219 interest, 57 cents.
approval of minutes, town board minutes. Town board minutes. First up is May 8th. The Plan Commission approved these minutes with some changes. I think the changes are in here.
Yep.
And so now the Plan Commission did that, June
June 12th.
June
As
12th.
that date,
Yes.
that I didn't change.
That you, yeah, that date. So now it's town board's turn. So I need a motion and a second, and any discussion changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, May 8th.
Is there a
I'll
second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Town board, June 6th.
There's a few changes there. On page 3, under the spring and fall brush pickup and wood delivery, the third line will now read, "The town board would like to do this for this fall, period," instead of for the
This
fall.
drop off.
Yeah, for this fall. And then under I, where it says DPW Director and Clerk Treasurer discussed with the town board adding, take out DPW, the updated DPW Clerk Treasurer, take out the word, the DPW. And then on page 5, under 16, the word over the remaining 15 pay periods. The amount for the assistant chief for the remaining over the 15 pay periods. So everybody clearly understands that amount is for the next 15.
Over the next,
Yeah,
over
over.
the, it's not for the remaining, it's over the remaining. So it's paid over the remaining 15 pay periods, which is, I think, what the motion was. It wasn't going to get 26 for each pay period.
Right.
It's over.
So those are the only changes that I have so far.
Any further changes? So we have a motion to approve the minutes with the changes set forth by, is
Make a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections as stated.
there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimous. So now we're on to Monday, June 17th, this week, on Monday, our special emergency meeting.
And the only thing that's going to change on there, your first set of minutes had these say town board, the other one said town board and plan commission, but this one is corrected to say town board. And the only other thing Chairman Fortner pointed out, which is pretty critical, the 1, 2, 3, 4th line down where it says Chairman Carl Fortner asked Clerk Treasurer Karen Shu if the agenda and the Cornerstone 1 proposal was properly posted. We just wanted to state for the record that I did post the statute, the proposal, and the agenda as recommended by the attorneys from the Wisconsin Towns Association.
Right, and I did ask the clerk treasurer if she answered in the affirmative at that meeting, so.
And it was at the fire station, inside and outside the town hall, so it met the parameters of the state statutes.
So that will be added.
Okay.
Is there a motion? Or I'll make that motion to approve with that change of adding Ann Cornerstone 1 proposal and the minutes as stated. Is there a second? Supervisor Merlin, second.
Yeah.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Unanimously, how's that? Next meeting dates, you want to read them? I'll read them? You can read them?
Sure. The Board of Review is going to convene on June 27th at 6:30 PM. It's anticipated and noted that the board will reconvene on July 10th, 2019 at 9 PM. 9 a.m. The town board meeting that was regularly scheduled for July 3rd is now going to meet on Tuesday, July 9th at 6:30 PM. Plan Commission will be meeting on July 10th at 6:30 PM. The second town board meeting is on July 18th at 6:30 PM. The town staff meeting is on July 25th at 1 PM. The Waukesha County Towns Association meeting is on July 25th in the town of Genesee, starting at 6:30. And the change to there is they're going to eat first from now on and then do the meeting. So,
Oh, that's good.
And they got a
Everybody
really good
fall asleep.
speaker.
We can leave that.
And they
And
have-
slip out the back door.
It's my understanding we're getting a really good speaker for that one, so I just wanted to let you know that should be a good meeting.
A quick question. that meeting for the Board of Review on the 27th, are we going to meet, or are we going to, is it just postponed, or?
You have to
We have to
convene. You have to meet just to
So we have to drive down here,
adjourn to
adjourn, and then
July 10th.
July 10th.
July 10th at 9
Yeah.
a.m.
Right,
By law, that's what we have to do though, huh?
yeah.
Okay.
That's because we said it. I mean, we
Yeah.
said it because we thought that would be a good, right.
Okay.
Carl, the July 10th Plan Commission meeting, that's not the town board that day.
No.
Just Plan Commission,
Just Plan
Plan
Commission
Commission.
has to attend.
right.
But, Mr. Chairman, if the town board, wants to attend, you're going to be voting on some of the issues, but maybe watch it on TV or YouTube, because you will be voting on some of the issues that the Plan Commission makes.
Right, so-
Recommendation. from the
Yes,
plan.
yes.
The Plan Commission, the agenda will say, it will note on there that a quorum of the town board may be present and, as part of your notice. So feel free to come. There's no reason why you can't come. It's not going to violate the open meetings or
Okay.
catch up later on, well, I was going to say Channel 25, but that would be difficult to do.
Okay.
Public comments. Number 13. Mr. Singer, you have a public comment?
My name is Rodell Singert, and I live at 7890 Hilo Drive. My question is the sheriff's report that was given to the town available for citizens to read?
I can't hear you, sir.
Is that mic on?
Yeah, it is. He's gotta get a little closer. It doesn't pick up.
And just so everyone is aware, these are for public comments, and we cannot really answer questions because they're not on the agenda. So please ask your questions, and we'll take notes and try and get back to you. So, Mr. Singer, could you re-ask your question into the mic? Thank you, so everyone can hear.
Under this agendized item, I wish to ask the question, is the report from the sheriff's department on the issue that's been on every agenda for the last 3 months, is that report now complete, received by the town board, and is it available for citizens to read? The issue should be, in my humble opinion, cleared and available for the public to read.
Any further comments? Okay, I made a note of it. Thank you. Any further public comments? Motion to adjourn? Second? Oh. Yeah, I know. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. We're adjourned. 8:11.